friends, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we have a really special guest. I'm so excited to welcome Alice Kristiansen onto our channel. She just completed the Petite Power program and she's coming on the channel today to talk about her experience, her work that she did on herself, her mindset. We talk a lot about intuitive eating and just her experience on this journey as a petite woman, focusing on her relationship with food and healing and just so much good stuff like body recomposition. So you're not gonna wanna miss this. Also, she is a very talented singer-songwriter. So if you want to, I highly recommend checking out her music. She's on Spotify, like SoundCloud, all the spots. Just look up Alice. Also put all the links in the description below. And as a final thing, we are accepting clients into the Petite Power program right now. If you would like to join us for our June session, we start the very end of June. So you have a few days left to sign up. This is going to be an amazing time for you to work on your relationship with food, your body composition, whatever you want to work on as a petite, having to do with your health and wellness. We are here to help. So you can book a call in the link below. You can also just sign up. You can enroll on our website for the next few days. And I really hope to see you in the program. And without further ado, let's jump into the conversation I had with Alice. Hi Alice, welcome to the channel. I'm so excited to have you today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, okay, so I'm really excited. We have a lot to chat about. You just finished 12 weeks of the Petite Power program and it seems like you're in a really different place now. So I'm really excited to kind of chat with you about your mindset journey, intuitive eating, kind of the things that you've learned along the way. And I think it's really gonna help our community and also members kind of learn from you and just see what your experience has been like. But just to set the table, would you mind giving us kind of like a background of where you were before you started the program and like kinds of the things you were struggling with back then?
This wasn't my first experience kind of with working out. So previously I used to go to the gym like really regularly from the ages of like 18 to 21. I'm now realizing with my mindset now, like it was always with the end goal of like losing weight. So then I stopped working out once I moved out to the city and for like a year, and then quarantine happened and DoorDash happened and I ate a lot over 3 months, but I do think that actually, so I gained weight, but I think it fixed my metabolism. This is also what I'm seeing. So I was a chronic undereater for years and I had such a difficulty losing fat, like I couldn't do it. And then after gaining, I'll be honest, I gained around 15 pounds during quarantine. I have never been able to lose fat so easily in my life. And there are so many petite girls saying like, oh, well, I'm eating like 1,400. I'm not still seeing any results. If you can take it mentally, give yourself a chance for a couple weeks just to like eat everything you want. I think there are so many women who've broken their metabolisms. And like, it makes me, when I'm seeing people like under eating, it's like, that is not the way to lose weight. You're not going to. But yeah, so that's where I was at. I gained a lot of weight. And I was, well, not a lot. I mean, it wasn't like a crazy amount, but I was still uncomfortable with how I was looking. And most of all, I felt bad. I couldn't move the way I used to, and I just wasn't being active enough. So I don't know how one of your videos came up, but I saw it on YouTube and I really liked the vibe of your program. It sounded really not gimmicky. And so, and I basically just wanted to kind of get fitter. I initially wanted to lose a lot of weight. I haven't lost that much weight and it doesn't bother me. Like I'm happy where I'm at. But yeah, that was kind of what happened before I got into the program. So.
Yeah. And I love that you've had this, like you came in with this focus of weight loss, but now you're leaving it and you've had a body recomp and your mindset is in a different place and you're not like dieting anymore, which, as you know, and as you've seen in our like other community pages, like the public ones, so many petite women are trying to restrict. That's the advice we've been given our whole lives, and like do more cardio, but it never actually helps you change your body composition like in a meaningful way, or it doesn't make you feel good either, like you highlighted. So I'm so glad you're able to kind of, I mean, we're going to get into it, but a lot of women are starting like where you are in terms of being petite and having that like history of restriction, including myself. I went through like the exact same thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to ask, what was your relationship like with food at the time that you entered it? Like, did you find that you would restrict all of your favorite foods, or would you like do any dieting, like specific diets, like intermittent fasting or like anything like that?
Well, there was a period of time where I was vegan for a little while, which now is like, yeah, because I thought I would lose weight. And right before I was in the program, I was eating a lot. For a couple months, I just ate whatever I wanted. And then after that, I was like kind of feeling a little out of control. And I was like, oh my God, what if I'm just going to keep eating like this? And like, so I started restricting and trying to I got a bike and I was like, well, I'll work out. And, but I didn't I knew it just, I have to say, like, when you get to the point where like you're eating right, it shouldn't feel like an effort. I don't think about food at all. And I was thinking about it so much and like counting calories. And so that was kind of where I was at. And I had gained this weight and now I was trying to lose it by restricting again, which obviously didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk more about that. Like, what was it like going from obsessing over calories and to then getting to that place where like you literally didn't think about food anymore? Like, what did that look like?
First of all, I feel like even sticking with the program for a week or two gave me more confidence in myself to stick with things, more trust in myself to stick with things. And so I wasn't holding on to the reins so tight when it came to what I was eating. And I was also noticing a very clear, it was like, I eat my food, I have more energy to work out, I have a better workout, and then I'm feeling better throughout. And so things started just kind of, I started seeing myself more as like a caretaker, if that makes sense. So it was like, I want to fuel myself in the best way possible so I can work out. And there was always, I'd always heard women around me say things like, oh, well, I biked really, really far so I can eat this food. And that hasn't changed. Like, it's still like that, but it's more like, oh, I'm going to eat this croissant because I need it. Like, I really did burn a lot of calories today and I want to make sure that I feel, and it's okay that it's a croissant. I can't even explain enough, like how much joy I've found in intuitive eating and like how the transition felt so natural, because like you just kind of, as you're getting healthier, you're building muscle, you're feeling better, your mindset kind of changes. And you also notice that like, if you eat 2 bowls of ice cream, it's not going to show up in the next couple days. Like, it literally, you're going to use it up the next day. And so, yeah, it was kind of this slow realization that, number one, like if I eat the way my body wants me to eat, I'm not going to gain like 100 pounds. And then that like, if I listen to myself, most of the time I want to eat healthy food. And then I just want to be able to like have dessert. I have dessert like every night, but I just eat pretty well during the day.
I love that. So do I. What is your favorite dessert, by the way?
Ooh, I don't know. Sometimes sometimes I'll have ice cream, but there's this like really quick chocolate cake that I make that's so good. It's kind of like, it's not very fluffy. It's kind of gooey. And I just have it with like heavy cream and raspberries, and it's so good. That's also one thing that I found with intuitive eating. I also lean towards like not desserts that are healthy, but ones that are like real, if that makes sense. Like, yes. I'd rather be eating, like, I don't mind eating a ton of butter, but I prefer that to like something else most of the time. And obviously, like, I'm not like a no processed foods person, but there is a difference in the way you feel.
Definitely. Something our head dietitian says all the time too is like, there's no morality in food. And it sounds like you slowly stripped, like just hearing about how your mindset shifted over time, it sounds like you just slowly stripped away that judgment or like that morality or that value you put on different foods, like seeing a croissant as like fuel versus like a bad food or something, which is really great. And I think too, it's awesome to be, I mean, you gotta have treats in your life. Like, it's not sustainable if you like cut everything out. So
no, exactly. And I love eating. Like, it's one of my fiance and I, like, we cook every night. We love eating. And that was like almost something that we were both stressing about when we started working out. Cause we're like, we don't want to stop eating good stuff. And we both have just found, cause he's kind of intuitive eating as well, that we get to like eat all this great food. And then if we're hungry, like have dessert. And yeah, it's a peaceful way to live your life after years of just like kind of it always being in the back of your head. So
definitely. What were some unlocks that you had early on to getting to this destination, as far as like, I know for a lot of women in the program, the first 2 weeks or the first 3 weeks, there can be like some doubt, like you haven't seen the results yet. So it can be like, what did you do on like a bad body image day, or a day where you weren't sure if you should keep going, or like, how did you stick with it so that you could really reap these results?
Well, okay. So I think that I was thinking about this when we were going to talk about intuitive eating, and also seeing some other people who have gotten kind of overwhelmed by it. And I was only able to come to this total peace in intuitive eating and like being able to take care of my body by first taking care of my mental health. So I spent like almost like a year during quarantine. I spent a lot of time like working on like my self-worth and all that stuff. And then that allowed me, that was like an unlock into, then I saw your program and I was like, I'm ready for this. I want to do this now. I want to prove to myself that I can do this. And then so I signed up, and a lot of the mental work about doing the workouts had been done already. And also because I used to work out, it was kind of a little bit like, this feels nice. Like I remember this. But yeah, I think that like, yeah, it did take a lot of work in order to get to the place where I was confident enough that I could do the program and not let myself down. But that was one of my fears. So yeah, I guess.
Totally.
But yeah, while I was doing the program, I think just seeing how clothes fit as opposed to going on a scale, because I didn't actually lose very much weight. And I just think it's so, even looking at yourself in the mirror, you can't always get a good feel for it. So like just seeing how clothes fit is really nice. And yeah, it's just been really motivating because I've been seeing small little changes. And I really feel like I can, in a good way, kind of influence the way I want my body to look without starving myself. You know?
I love that. Yeah. I think too, a lot of times people think, like, you know, that saying, like, nothing feels as good as skinny looks, like those horrible, like
I reblogged that on Tumblr.
Oh my God, I'm sure I did too.
14.
I'm sure I did too, because we have this idea that we have to like suffer to look and feel good in our bodies. And it's actually the opposite. Like after you spent, you know, a whole year doing that inner work on what you want to feel like, how you want to show up, and like what feels good, you can see that they're not mutually exclusive. Like you can feel good without starving yourself, and like you can like learn to love your body without focusing on just the weight loss and like all of these things, that's a really great example of that. Yeah. What are some other like non-scale victories that you had throughout mindset or whatever?
Just in general, just like moving around, I have a lot more energy, and like I'm always opting for like the more active things, whereas previously it just didn't feel so good to move. And I just missed that. Also doing the workouts and like doing my bike and everything, I find that it's like kind of something that I can hold on to when I'm feeling terrible. Like I can get in the gym, do like a really hard workout, and it'll just clear my mind enough so that at least while I'm doing it, I can see things from like 100 feet above. Maybe once I'm done, I'll go right back down. But when I'm feeling really bad, this is what makes me so sad about fitness, that like a lot of people have used it as a way to like self-harm, when it is like such a great tool for good mental health. And I guess like finding a way where people can come back to it, because I was able to with your program, because when I left it, it was not what it is to me now, which is a little more like spiritual, as weird as that sounds. But yeah, like I get on the bike and work out almost every morning. I have break days, but because I want to, not because I'm like, oh my God, I need to work off something, you know?
Yeah. I feel like the gym is like my church. Like it's where I go to like meditate. And yeah, on days where I also have bad body image days or whatever, I know that working out will like change my state. Like I almost go to have that mental change of state, you know, instead of like feeling like I have to go, or like it's like hating my body, and that's why I'm dragging myself to work out.
Right. Yeah, no, it's your like mental health that comes first, and you're thinking like, I feel like shit. Like I really just need to work out. Yeah. I love that it's changed for me in that way, because I really,
too.
You know,
yeah, and every woman deserves that. I feel like too, like when you said earlier, like at the beginning, that you gained some weight over quarantine, and I think for petite women especially, even, I mean, the word a lot is so relative. Like in terms of what's a lot of weight, but even like 5 pounds on a small frame can be really horrible for a petite woman. Like it can feel like very bad. It can just make you feel bad, like because your clothes stop fitting, and even if you don't weigh that much, because we're small already, it can just be like devastating. So I think that's another thing too, like focusing on like the petite side of things, even though it's not about weight loss, like even if it's like a couple pounds, it's not really making a difference, but it can just make you feel bad. And that, like, if you don't feel good, then that's what this is all about. It's about feeling good, right? So it's like,
I kind of found, also talking to my petite friends, it's not the same for all of us, but both my friend and I, we were like very, very, very skinny in high school. Like we both kind of developed late. And then we both almost had like these second puberties where we did gain like 10 or 15 pounds. But like, there is a certain thing to it when you're so small, because you're used to being like, oh, so small. And then it's like, you've gained this weight and you're like, oh my God, I'm not like this teeny tiny cute thing anymore, which is so weird, but you get so attached to that kind of image or like identity. But yeah, it's tough when, and also like no one else notices it as much as you do, except for when you're on the internet. I've gotten like some comments like, have you gained weight? And I'm like, don't you fucking dare ask me. It's none of your business. But like, yeah, I mean, I did, but I think that it was also, I don't know how to tell someone who hasn't gotten to this point, like to really let go of the reins. But I think in order to like, you kind of have to just like, let yourself eat, even if that means eating a lot for a couple weeks. Cause it does just even out. But
yeah, it really does prime your metabolism to, it helps increase it to eat more food, which is great. What would you tell, I'm just curious because a lot of petite women are really afraid of lifting weights for the same reason, like they're afraid of like bulking up or whatever. What, was that ever a fear of yours? And if so, like, how did you get past that? Like, oh, like bulky fear, I guess.
So I had like a bit of that fear, but I more with my like kind of upper body, because I feel like you don't want to be bulky up there, but I've always been disproved. Like every time I gain a little bit of muscle, and then if I go to like measure it, like it's always a tiny bit smaller. And I found that like, as I've gained a ton of muscle in my legs, like they look smaller. Like it just isn't, I've just been proved wrong so many times that at this point I'm like comfortable with it. And also I'm not like slamming protein shakes, so I don't think that I'm gonna be like gaining a bunch of like muscle. But yeah, I guess I kind of, I don't know, just seeing it, I just had to prove to myself that I wasn't gonna get bulky, and I didn't. So
yeah, you initially took that leap at one point and like kind of went out into the unknown and tried it, which is great. I think that's the turning point for a lot of women. It's like, even if they don't yet know or they're afraid, there has to be that moment where you just decide, all right, cardio is not working, right? Like I'm just gonna have to give this a try and see what happens, which actually takes a lot of courage and bravery, and is a lot of that mindset work that you talked about. So I'm glad that you kind of like took that leap. I know you had weight trained a little bit in the past before, right?
I had, but I'd never like gotten too far, because I was never eating enough to really like maintain any sort of progress. But yeah, I'd done it in the past, and I knew I liked it. That's the other thing, feeling strong. Like I've been gardening a lot this summer, and it's just like such a transferable skill. Like you just get tired way less easily. Like you can just do more things. And I know that I was only 25, but I can't like emphasize how much better. I think because I've been doing the stretches as well, but like it just feels good to be in my body, and it didn't feel so good like a year ago, which has been a big change. But
yeah, that's all amazing. I want to jump back to intuitive eating for a second, because I realized there might be some people watching us who like don't really know what intuitive eating is, and it's a very loose term in general. But I would love to hear from you, just like how do you describe the way that you intuitively eat, Alice, and like what does that look like for you?
So it kind of almost, I didn't like really read into it. I was just aware that intuitive eating was kind of just letting your body kind of decide. And so in the beginning, I knew that I had to, I guess I came into this knowing that I had to eat more. And so I started by having breakfasts in the morning. And I was always a girl who was like, I don't eat breakfast. I really don't like it, but it sets you up to make good decisions for the rest of the day.
It
So
does.
I started having like oatmeal in the morning or a smoothie. And that would just kind of, once you've had a smoothie and you've worked out, at that point, you're like, well, I might as well have a healthy lunch. And then so you like make something, but you've just worked out. So you want it to be substantial. So I would be eating like, I had a burrito for lunch today, a homemade burrito. And then, so I usually eat like a big protein shake, like some sort of lunch. And then dinner is always different things, but it's always like the PFF kind of thing. But yeah, it's just, but if I want like, I don't know, like a cookie in the afternoon, I eat it. Like, I don't even really think about it. But I think that it's not like, it took a lot of work to like get to this point, but now I just kind of, and I'm not going to grab it. I no longer, sorry, I talk so much and I jump around. Previously, I also didn't have a huge issue with like overeating, but it was something that I did occasionally. Doesn't really happen anymore because I'm just so used to not overriding this mechanism that's like, you're done, please stop. So yeah, it's just kind of been, when I say I literally eat whatever I want, I really do. It's just that I found that like, if I eat fast food for a day or two in a row, I'm craving vegetables and like, I need to eat something good. And then, so I'll go back to my regular routine. And then the next time I want to eat like McDonald's, I don't feel bad about it. Like, I don't have even like a little bit of guilt because I also have enough trust in myself to know that I'm going to go back to my previous habits, which was a big thing for me because some of my anxiety was about the fact that I thought if I let go, I would just totally let go. And then I would just eat and eat and I wouldn't work out. But then it was like, no, you like moving. Like, your body knows what it needs. It's not going to tell you to just eat ice cream all day. And then you're not going to, it sounds so bad how scared I was of losing weight, of gaining weight, but I was. And just, it kind of went away once I was able to let go of the reins of my food and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned self-trust because it's like when you're learning to, or when you're kind of like working on your relationship with food, it's really a relationship with yourself because food itself like doesn't have any capacity to have a relationship with you. And I think that's what, like, that's such an important part. I think for anyone who's struggling with, like fearing they're going to fall off the wagon and then never get back on, it's like, if you can ask yourself, well, like, why don't I trust myself, and like journal on it, or like get therapy, or like just get to the bottom of some of these root issues with food. I think a lot of times we see that they actually show up in other parts of our lives. Like, these are not just food issues. These are showing up, like how you do one thing is how you do a lot of other things. And it also, when you can start to kind of like unravel some of this and work on it, you see that improvement, not just in your relationship with food, but like in everything, like confidence, like your self-efficacy, everything kind of starts to like feel more confident and like kind of fall into place. So I love that you like bring the mindset into the food part, because it's really like our relationship with ourselves.
I totally agree that it really is kind of everything is connected. And I think that you really can't truly fix like your mental health without also fixing like your relationship to food and exercise, or how you take care of your body. So I also did see what you were saying reminded me of a post that I saw from someone on the Facebook group, and they were saying that I think they had fallen off the wagon, and they were like, I'm so scared. I don't know. She's feeling really bad about herself because she had, and this was the same cycle I was in about a year ago, where it's like, you fall off the wagon, you feel like a terrible person, and then you punish yourself, and then it doesn't leave a whole lot in the well to like want to do something. And then so you try another thing, fail at it because you feel miserable. And just to like get out of that, you have the self-talk. I think that's also a massive thing. It was just constant. I don't know if I posted a video about this on another channel that I have, but if your body listens to what you're saying to yourself, and if you are speaking badly to yourself, there's no reason why you'll come and show up and, you know, actually do a good job. So once I stopped, like I took that pressure off. I was like, if I don't do it tomorrow, then I don't do it tomorrow, and I'll just pick it up the next time I'm able to. And most of the time you pick it up, and then in a couple of days you go back. And then after you do that a couple times, the fear, you just kind of realize it's like, all right, I know what I'm doing. So
yeah, the other thing that happens for me that always backfires is if I like start a new, like maybe I restart the lifestyle, or I do something to kind of like get me to be more accountable or something. If I put a ton of pressure on myself to like drop 2 pounds that week, or like if I'm weighing myself every day and waiting for that number to drop, like it actually goes in the opposite direction. Like I'll actually start gaining weight if I fixate too much, or like I get obsessed. And it just backfires. So I think it's like, it's also great to not focus too much on those things, and just like, remember it's going to take like longer than 2 days or even 7 days to set yourself up for like the rest of your life of success with this amazing relationship with food. Like it's not going to happen in a week. It's going to be like I think people embark on this and they're like, oh, like I'm going to fix this week. But it's like, this is a relationship with food that's been going on for 20 something years, and you're trying to fix it for the next like 80 years. Like it deserves some time and some like consideration, which you've done. And it's like, it's really cool to see you on the other side of that now.
I just, it's so hard to actually convince people to start that journey, for them to just like, it's okay. Like you cannot focus on your weight, and you actually will still lose weight, or still be, I just thought, I was like, yeah, right, that actually works. You're just telling me that because it's good for my mental health, but I'm not actually going to get any progress out of it. But you do, like, you literally do get progress once you stop beating yourself up. So you'll get the aesthetic, like kind of stuff that you want. You just have to first, it has to come from a place of, I don't know, like self-love, or else it's not really gonna happen. And I always thought that was a load of bull, but
I know.
It's not.
Amen. Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, so as we're wrapping this up, I'd love to know, what would you tell other petite women who are considering joining our community or the Petite Power program, but are like nervous to sign up for any of the reasons we've chatted about, or other reasons?
Well, I would say number one, I've only commented back or a couple times or posted a couple times, but the Facebook group is, everyone is so lovely, and everyone really, really supports each other. And I didn't end up using it that much, but I read some of the conversations, and it was just nice. Like everyone is so supportive. And I can imagine that if you like maybe wanted to do the program, but you didn't have someone to lean on, like people will be there for you. And I just thought that was such a sweet part of the program. And when it comes to being nervous, I think that like, it's the reason you should do it. Like, I think that if it scares you a little bit, just go for it. Cause I know that they'll finish on the other side of the 12 weeks, even if like they're not doing the workouts every single day, you do still take away like a better sense of self and kind of more confidence in food. And like, if nothing else, like just kind of peace of mind with, how you're working out, knowing that at least it's supposed to be working. And I think people should do it. I had such a great time.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but during orientation, I always say, like, if you're nervous, like that is definitely a good thing. Like you join the program to not to stay the same, but to actually change and grow, and that you're going to be nervous for that. Like that's scary. That's like really scary. So I really think normalizing the nerves is like a huge part of any change you make in your life too.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I can also see how it would be super nerve-wracking to someone who hasn't worked out before. That was also something that I saw that I wanted to kind of impress upon people, which was some women in the group were saying like, hey, I'm a week in, I'm a week, 2 weeks in, and I'm not feeling this high that everyone says that they get from the gym. And when I started working out the very first time, it took me like 3 months to actually get to the point where I was like, no, I want to go. Like, this isn't forcing myself. And it does take a while, but once it's there, it's solidified. So even once I took off a couple of years, literally, I went back to it. And within a week, I was back in the swing of things and like really enjoyed it. But I think that you just have to stick through the first, however long it takes you to really kind of, you know, get those, like the endorphins and dopamine and everything. But it does happen as long as you're consistent. And then after that, it doesn't feel like work to go to the gym. It's like, oh, I want to go. It's like my way of, you know, chilling out. It's self-care. It really is, if you do it properly. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that you said you see yourself as like your caretaker now, like your own.
Right.
I think that's a really great like way to think about it.
Yeah, I think it helps reframe things when it comes to like the reasons why you're eating, and helps put them in like a very kind of, it gives you perspective, which has been helpful for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So as a final thing, Alice, where can we like find you? How can we support you? Where can we like send all of our community to follow you?
Oh, well, I have my YouTube channel where I post covers and my own original music. And then I actually have another YouTube channel if anyone's interested in hearing me talk more about this stuff. I made a video on mental health and self-trust, because it was a major pillar in me succeeding in this program, because I did a lot of thinking about it for about a year before. So if they want to go check that out, and also my Instagram is Alice LK, and I think that's it. I don't really use Twitter, so.
Amazing. I'll put all the links in the description below. Okay. And thank you so much, Alice, for coming on.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, that was such a real refreshing conversation with Alice. Thank you so much, Alice, for coming on the channel and sharing your journey and your story. And thank you guys for watching this. If you enjoyed it, please comment below. Let me know what questions you have about intuitive eating, or just like reacting to the video, anything you learned, anything you're curious about. I can make another video on it. Subscribe for more content, Together to Petite Women. And of course, go follow Alice. I'll put her stuff below. Listen to her music, so talented. And if you want to join us for the Petite Power program, we are accepting clients for just a few more days. You can check out some more information on that below and enroll, or you can book a call with myself or a member of the team if you just have some questions that you want to chat about first. And other than that, you guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.